Advanced DonorScape webinar training. My name is Kat Banakis, and I'm the Manager for Client Engagement and Support at Grenzenbach Lear and Associates Analytics.
And I'm Catherine Julitz, the Technical Communications Specialist at GG&A.
Today we'll be going over some of the advanced technical features in DonorScape, including, but not limited to, loading new prospects into the system, updating information on existing prospects, and adding, editing, and deleting users. I'll pause at key points throughout the webinar to answer any questions you may have. To submit a question, hover over the green bar until you see a question mark or a conversation bubble.
Direct your questions to host, which is me. Any questions that we aren't able to get to during the session will be answered as part of the follow-up transcript that we'll send in an email out to the registrants. Following the session, we'll send out a link of today's recording and a transcript to any answers we didn't get to during the session. If at any point during the webinar you are experiencing any technical difficulties, please send me an email at cjulitz@grenzglear.com or call our meeting provider WebEx directly at 866-229-3239.
Finally, all names presented during this and all GG&A DonorScape training sessions, including web-based and recorded videos, are from public records and bear no relationship to any GG&A client institutions. All names have been appended with fictional giving and relationship data and are included for demonstration purposes only. So let's get started. We assume in this training session that you've completed the introductory session, which is available on the support site for viewing and download, and so we're going to be building off of that. Today we're going to be looking at how to load new prospects into the system, how to update information on existing prospects, and how to add, edit, and delete users within the system. So to begin, we're going to look at how to add new people into the system. There are a couple ways to do this. We can load people in one person at a time in a user interface. We can upload up to 5,000 people at a time through a template upload, or we can upload more than 5,000 people at a time by sending those records to the GG&A team. So to start out, I've logged into DonorScape. We're looking at a practice account here, and we always want to start by looking at the number of searches remaining. That's how many new people you can load through the system. So I have plenty of searches to go between now and when my contract expires at the end of 2020. And to load new people into the system, we're going to go over to the Search tab here. And this takes us directly to the first way to load new people into the system, and that's through the new prospect search. There are some advantages and disadvantages to loading people this way. The advantage is that it's really fast, and as you will see, it allows us to see a little bit about somebody before we run them. The disadvantage is that it doesn't give us the opportunity to input nearly as much information about the prospect as the other methods do. Notably, we can't put in anything about their giving history, their relationship to the institution, or give them a specific ID number. When we load a person through this methodology, they're in the system, but they're given a random ID. So it's not going to match the ID in your donor management system. That said, this is a great way to look up one person at a time for a quick pre-meeting or pre-event search on somebody when you just want to get a sense of them. So I'm going to load one person here. I'm loading in Toby Hall, who lives at 10 Trinidad Drive in Fairbanks, Alaska. And you can see here that the fields with an asterisk are those that are required. I'm going to hit search, and then anything that the database is able to find out about him is going to appear below in the preview window. What it's doing right now is running his name and address through our 12 publicly available databases to see where and how he matches up with folks. So here we've got one match to him. It's an E exact quality match in the LexisNexis table. If there were other matches, say in Dun & Bradstreet, GuideStar, anything like that, they would all appear here. So it's not going to decrement from my total number of searches until I hit Submit Record. And then he's going to appear. There we go. He's in the system. And we can look at that real estate match, and it's going to align with the 10 Trinidad Drive property that we input for him. And we can see here that it's given him this long ID number that is randomly attributed. So now we're going to look at how to upload more than one person at a time. In fact, up to 5,000 people at a time. And to do that, I'm going to go to Search and then Express Upload. And this is going to provide me with a template that I can download and fill out about people. These detailed instructions here on the PDF are going to go over exactly what I'm going to tell you, but they're all written here. So I'm going to click this template. It's going to open in Excel. Woo. And this template is filled out with all of the fields that you can and or must input about folks into the system. So any of the yellow column headers are required. The green column headers are recommended but not required, and the white column headers are optional. As you saw here, when you hover over the column headers themselves, there's a little note about what data type can be in which column. And the template is not kidding when it tells you what the data types are, and when it tells you what can and cannot be input into the system. So for instance, home state is a required field, and it says insert XX if you don't have a home state for the person. If for even one record you just put a blank in and don't put in XX when a state is missing, the whole file will fail. So the recommended data types are pretty serious on it. So I've completed one for you, and I should say screening indicator is always Y. Your account ID is your account number, and that is found right here. So for this account, we're looking at the account 3362. If you're at an institution that has multiple accounts with us for different kinds of files, just make sure you're uploading the right file to the right account. So I filled out a demo here. I've put in the IDs that through Express Upload I get to choose, whereas it was random in the individual name search. I put in the first name, the last name, the address. Oh, we've got some blanks here. Let's fill those in. Alaska, Alaska. If you don't know the zip code, fill in all 9s or all 0s. And total giving dollars, 0. Make sure everything's okay. And then for client field 20, I put in today's date so that at some point in the future, if I want to isolate just these records, I could do it based on what I put in this text field here. So I've got all of the yellow columns complete. Double check on that. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and delete all of these empty columns. You don't want to accidentally upload you know, a period or a random space or something like that. You can't delete any of the required columns, but those that are non-required, I'm going to go ahead and delete and take them out. If we were to include the employer, the business address, the spouse name, any of these recommended fields that are in green, we'd be more likely to get matches within the outside data sources, but all I really know on these people is their home address, so that's what we're going to go with. And we'll get perfectly good data. Likewise, if we had any giving history, it would be indicative of their giving capacity, but we're going with what we've got, and frequently all you're going to have, especially in a membership at a cultural institution, or if you're at a hospital of some sort, all you're going to have is name and home address. All right, we have one extra here, so let's take that guy out. And now I'm going to have to save this as a file type CSV, which is a comma-separated value file. It's like Excel, but it's a little bit stripped down. It's not color-coded or anything like that. So we're going to begin with the account ID again. So that's 3362, followed by an underscore. And I'm going to say upload 2012 0920 for today's date. And I'm going to change it to file type CSV, which is hiding, but it's somewhere in here. Oh, there we go, comma delimited. On my desktop, I'm going to save it, and it will tell us that we can only save one page of the workbook. Is that okay? If so, is. Save it, yes. I'm going to close out of the template. And then all I have to do is find that file on my desktop. So let's browse for it. Here we go. And I'm going to go ahead and upload it. Now what it's doing is it's cleaning the file to see if there are any errors. If there are errors, we're going to click yes. And it's telling us that a column name is invalid. Please check the header row for correct spelling and spacing. Now this is the default error that comes up. Sometimes there's a column name invalid, but sometimes the system is just traumatized because there's an extra space or a paragraph mark or something like that, and it can happen. The easiest way to check and see if there's an extra paragraph or space is just to copy and paste. Oh, no. Sorry, I have a bar at the top of my screen that you don't for the meeting, and it's keeping me from doing some of these things. To copy and paste into a new spreadsheet that just the data that you're working with here. So I deleted all of the extra columns. I'm going to make sure that I don't have any funny spacing like a double wide or column or cell, and I don't see any. So I'm just going to copy and paste them into a new document, and usually that will help resolve this. It sounds so high-tech, and then it's low-tech of just a copy and paste. Let's try this again. Save as, and do a CSV. Begin with the account number, 3362, September, oh. I was using my own abbreviation for September. It's a little known option there. All right. Save, yes. All right, let's try this guy again. Find it on the desktop, September. 3362, all of that's matching, open it up, and upload it. Checking again. And then when it is a clean file, it's going to say in progress. That message that is in progress won't automatically renew. You have to click to another window and click back for it to tell you that it's done. And the way you'll know it's done is in this errors column, it'll say no. So for no errors and that the file is uploaded. If there are specific errors, not a carriage return, not something wrong with the header, here in this row error column area, it'll say row 15, state cannot be blank, or row 32, too many characters, something like that. So sometimes it's just a one-spot error that you have to go back and correct. You're able to upload up to 5,000 records at a time through this method. If you want to upload more than 5,000 records, you have two choices. One is that you can break your file up into batches of 4,999 and do one after the other. As soon as you get a no here for the first file that it's uploaded, upload the second file. The second is that you can send it to us through our secure FTP, which is filesend.donorscape.com. And if you have more than 5,000 records to upload, we'll go ahead and do it for you. Also, your first time doing one of these uploads, it may be a little bit difficult just getting the different data types right and cleaning the file, everything like that. If you're losing your mind with it, send it to us at filesend.donorscape.com, and we'll take a look at that first one for you to try and clean it. So let's jump over here and see if it's done by coming back. It is done. It says errors no. Yay, that's fantastic. So let's go and look at our results. We have a couple ways that we can do it. We go into all. We can either query by the upload date, or we can also query by that field that we put into client field 20. So let's do client field 20 first. I'm going to say constituent information, client field 20 equal to 20120920, because that's the text that I had in client field 20. Save and run. And here we've got the 10 people we just uploaded who look great. Let's also do it by upload date. So for that, I'm going to say constituent information, upload date equal to 09-20-2012. I'm going to save it as the name by date. And we go over all of the query methodologies in the intro session. You know, this is goofy. I wonder if I'm not sure why none of the last names are appearing. Let's double check and make sure I didn't delete that on the upload file. I absolutely did. No wonder they don't match. So now we will see what happens when you re-upload it to somebody. I'm going to do it so that you can see what happens, because if you upload people of the same account ID, it will overwrite them. So that's worth seeing, because you don't want to use the same IDs over and over again, because it will overwrite them. So that is good to know, and this is a perfect way to show it. Even though we weren't planning on it, you know, it happens. So we're going to save that again. And this is what happens sometimes. So go through again, find it, and upload it. What we would have seen here is that Toby Hall is input twice. Here we uploaded him through the full screening, and so he has the ID from our donor database system. Here, he is, that must be, we'll have to log out and do that again. In one, we're going to see him from the donor database system, and maybe he's in there twice. Oh, Toby. This is from today's date, and here we've got him that he was also uploaded, oh, here he is, with the random ID. So he's in there twice. So if we want to keep it with the donor database system, we would delete this record right here in remove record, or we could keep the one that we had uploaded. So I'm going to upload that quickly so that we're looking at the accurate names there, and then we'll move on. And when we go, there we go. When we're going to move now to updating records. It's going to be a really similar method to uploading new records, except the template that we download is going to have fewer columns, and only 2 of them are required. So we're going to do prospect updates, get template, and it's going to look really similar, except you'll see here that only account ID and prospect ID are required. Everything else is optional. And not every field can be updated. For instance, you can't update a person's name. If there's a marriage, divorce, anything like that, their name is their name, because if we were to put them through with a new name, it's actually considered a new person that they're searching the databases for. But any of these fields can be updated. There isn't a user interface option for, for faster updating. So I can't, go into somebody's record right now and just read. I couldn't go in and just type in their last name or just change their address by highlighting it. For any updates, we have to do it through this batch update feature. And so we filled out a demo on that. This one will go much more smoothly than the one we just tried for uploading new records. So here, I've got the account ID, the prospect ID is filled out. Let's just do a few of these. We're just going to do 5 records. I'm going to delete those. And then I'm going to change the assigned solicitor. And we're going to change one of the client fields. And these client fields, as you'll recall from the first training, are text fields that you can have as anything relevant to your organization. So it could be gala attendance, it could be ways that they've participated in the past, any number of things. So I'm going to go here, let's save this. And again, we're going to save it as a CSV beginning with the name, the account number. We've got CSV, batch update, and let's just shorten it to batch on the desktop. Do I want to save the changes? Yes. Save. Great. Fine. All right. So we see here that we're done uploading. Let's click over to data results and get over to batch updating. I'm going to browse. Upload that file. Okay, so here, any of the fields that would have changed their address, it's telling us that they can't be null for the field update. So what we're going to have to do on this, and this one I really did plan, I promise, we're going to delete all of the fields that we're not updating on that one. So let's delete all of these that are empty. Over to assigned solicitor. And we're just going to update those fields there. Copy and paste into a new document. Save as. CSV. Batch 2, save. Oh, 3362 underscore. Great. And let's log back in. Jump over to administration, batch updates, we'll find it. Upload completed without any errors, will be notified when it's completed. The person who's notified is whoever is the main account administrator on your account. Okay, fantastic. So let's go back to that query we wrote before here we go, there we go. Same query, except now their names are there, thank goodness. And let's also do a query for those people who we just updated. So I'm going to say constituent information, and then one of the fields we updated was assigned solicitor. And I don't remember exactly how I inputted there, whether it was Catherine Julitz or C. Julitz or just Julitz. So I'm going to do a wildcard, and I'm going to do that by saying like, and then I'm going to use percentage sign as our wildcard indicator, and then Julitz. And I have to name it. And here we have the 5 people who I just updated with their assigned solicitor as Julitz. So I'm going to pause here for any questions that we might have about uploading new records or updating existing records. Updating existing records does not count against your total at all. If you want to rescreen someone who you've updated, say you put their address in new and you want to rescreen them, you would just hit update prospect and it would rescreen them through the system. Again, that does not count against your total number of searches. But what does count against your total number of remaining searches is any new updates. So I actually decremented 21 today because I had the one that I did for Toby Hall and then the 10 batches. Even though they were the same ID, it counted against it for 20 searches. Okay, so no questions on that. We're going to move quickly to adding, editing, and deleting users. Again, this is an administrator function under the Administration tab, and we're here under Create, Edit, Delete Users. You can edit a user. So, for instance, Catherine's provisions here, we have her as a user at the read-only level, which means that she can look at records, run queries, but she can't modify the records. I could move her up to a base user, which means that she can modify the records, she can upload new records, change them, or I could make her another administrator. You can have as many administrators as you would like on a given account. We would also have the ability to update her name, her email address, anything like that. Also the defaults for what level of gift capacity rating she sees when she logs in. We can also add a new user, and we would do that here. I want them to start today. You can set their start date, for example, if you have a new person coming on staff and you want to go ahead and set them up, but they're not actually going to need access for another couple weeks, something like that. I'm going to give this person a username of demo3, set their temporary password. They'll be able to modify that under the Preferences tab after they log in. And I'm going to give them the rights to do Express Upload that we just demoed. I'm going to say that they can upload all of these things, but I only want them to be able to look at records at the exact near level. So instead of user defined, I'm going to say I want it admin defined, and I'm only going to let them look at exact and near. And yes, they can share queries. So then this is going to be test name, I'll put in our number here and my email address so that you know how to get a hold of me also. All right, and then if I click over to edit, we see that Demo3 now appears as a new user. We can delete them as a user, or you can simply mark them as inactive. Either is an option if you ever want to delete a user. Under the Administration tab, it's also worth noting if you have said that a simple search, a delete queue is required or an add queue is required for Express uploads, this means that people can't add or delete without your approval. And the approval you would find here under the add/delete queue. The Administration tab is also where you have client-defined fields and what the legend is for all of those. So here we just have two fields, but you would see the text and all of that. There's also the option to assign prospects only to specific users, but I'm not going to go into that today because all of the people we have on the call today are at pretty small institutions, and that's usually going to only apply if you're working at a really large multi-site campus, so that you only want prospects from the business school to be available to the people in the business development office, that sort of thing. So I don't think that's directly applicable. But that is the sum total of what we're looking at today in terms of adding new prospects, modifying existing prospects, and adding, editing, and deleting users. If you have any follow-up questions, if anything occurs to you, feel free to give us a call, 866-378-8540, or email us at support@DonorScape.com, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. I'm going to stay on the line for a couple minutes here in case there are any questions, but for those of you that feel DonorScape sufficiently, thanks so much for being with us today, and have a great day.